So I am on the last day of Al Otro Lado volunteering time. I didn't make a video yesterday because I was very tired after dinner and I just couldn't. So I'm going to recap yesterday and I'm going to talk about today. So yesterday was actually the last full day that Al Otro Lado did a workshop where we would, do intakes and tell people about if they had a valid asylum claim, basically what I was doing the whole week. But yesterday, the trend that I saw was that there was a lot of people that had family members in the United States. Either they had children, adult children, they had either husbands or wives. So that was a bit surprising that I just saw so many that were, unfortunately were deported or something happened in their case that they're back to, Mexico and they've left behind children, parents. That was the most eye-opening for me because I know that does happen. I know people lose their green cards because of things that happen. But just to see them, so loud, just to see them trying to return to the United States, it's very sad. It's very, it's like that's too bad. I don't know what we can help them with. I don't know their whole case, and a lot of these people don't have like their documents that they were deported with, or they lost them, or it got stolen, or it was 5-10 years ago, so they don't have it. So it was difficult to give them like an accurate, advice or more, concise advice based on what they had because I just didn't know. It was hard. Everything was speculation. So what I did was those people that had family members, husbands, wives, or adult children. I just gave them different avenues, different options, and even though they're seeking for asylum, because that's the point of this work of Al Otro Lado, is that it's to help asylum seekers, even though they might be seeking asylum and something terrible has happened in here while they've returned. Maybe the best option for them is to look at reuniting with their families or things like that. So that was my most common trend yesterday. It was a very busy day, another long day, but yesterday was just very, very long. But it was the last full day that we did workshops, and it just flew by. So then today, we went to Chaparral this morning, meaning we went to the border and did a final outreach program, what I've been doing all week. And I will tell you this one story that might make everybody cry because it almost made me cry. This little girl volunteered with us all week. So her mom and her siblings were waiting for their number to be called, and they've been waiting for about 4 months. So this little girl was about 11 years old, and I remember the first day, so on Tuesday, she helped the child care coordinator write little kids' names, just track everybody, and because she kind of understood a little bit of English, it was very helpful. So this little girl was with us every day. The family came every day just to help out, just to be informed, because their number was going to be called any day. So they just wanted to be prepared. They just wanted to know everything and anything they needed to know for the next step. So this morning I went to Chaparral and I saw a little girl early in the morning, and I told her, good luck. I hope everything goes well. And she just smiled, and she was with her mom and her 2 little brothers. And then once they started calling out the numbers around almost 8:30 this morning, which is kind of late, they called their number. They called the family. And when the numbers are called, they have to come to the front of the line where the list managers are and verify that those are the people that are on the list with birth certificates or passports or whatever it is. So I saw them being verified. And then I saw the little girl that had been smiling and laughing and helping and just in good spirits completely break down. And I saw the fear that took over her because she was old enough to understand what was about to happen. That her family was going to be taken in and they were going to be held in the icebox for who knows how long. And you can just see the fear in her face. And I was just looking at her and she was just crying, and it was very, very hard. So when they passed through the line, I still saw her. You know, there are little like fences that don't really hold anybody back. So I called out her name so she can come to me because I wanted to offer her some type of comfort, anything. I wanted to give her a hug. So she came to me and she just was crying, just tears and just so terrified. And the only thing I could do was just hug her, kiss her on the forehead, and tell her that everything will be okay and that she is very strong. Just keep staying strong. Everything's going to be okay. You are strong for this. And that like broke my heart because I know what she was feeling. I can feel it. I mean, obviously I don't know firsthand experience, but I can feel her terror, and I can feel just, you know, she was happy that she wasn't waiting anymore, but now it's like the realization that like it's just going to be very scary for her and her family. And that really, like, I will never forget this little girl's face. I will never forget the smile that she had all week, and you know how polite she was. And I will never forget the fear in her face, knowing that she was, you know, one step closer, but yet miles away from being safe and being comfortable. So after that, I kind of looked around as they were still calling numbers, and I looked around at the families that they were calling, and it's like the families were, the parents, adults were like relieved that their number was called, but then it quickly went away because, you know, everybody knows what's going to happen. A lot of these people who are waiting for their numbers have gone to our organization and know what is next. So it's like I don't know even how to describe it other than like it's a realization that like, oh my God, like we don't know what we're in for now. And yeah, that was a very emotional morning. I felt for this little girl. I was thinking about her all day. Just, I wonder where she is. I wonder if she's okay. I wonder, you know, if she's warm enough. I wonder if when they separated her from her family, was she able to reunite with them? And I wonder if she's watching over her little brother, sister. I wonder if she's coloring. I wonder if she's, you know, I can't imagine what these children are going through, and it's just, I don't know, it's really hard to put into words, you know. Yeah, that's gonna stay with me forever because just the look on her face, the fear, just the fear of what she had. I mean, I have never seen just that look, not in something like this, so I don't know. It was a lot. It was definitely like a lot. And yeah, I mean, that's the realization of what's going on right now. Like these, you know, immigrants who are risking their lives to just make it to this point, to make it, you know, to put their name on a list so that they can be called and have an opportunity to, you know, not just seek a better life, but just seek, you know, to survive. And that we, the United States, our government, my government, has to do this process and has to make it so rigorous and just, you know, takes the humanity out of it and just thinks like, well, you know, policy or safety, or, well, we have to do this because we have to protect our borders. I get that completely. I understand that. But when you see these families and these children, these mothers and these fathers, like just terrified, crying because they don't know, they can't trust their government because their government is the one that they're fleeing from because they know that they can't get protected from their own government. So they're just hopeful that our government will be better. And I don't know if it is. I mean, well, I take that back. I know that it is, but the way that we treat them when they come in, we don't. It doesn't seem like we are any better than their own government, because we don't even treat them as human beings sometimes, and that's a problem. We are a much better country. We're much better people than that. And then what else? So today, and then after that, I had to go back and kind of get my mind right. And we weren't doing intakes today. It was a lot of data entry because there was so much. We did roughly around 100 intakes this week, so they had to put it in the system. Al Otro Lado is an organization that's trying to really help asylum seekers, and they need the data. They need to collect the data, so that involves people manually putting it in the computer so that they can go back to it and look at it and follow up on things. So a lot of people did that. I was doing follow-ups for some of the asylum seekers who missed their court, and I had to call a few people and just ask what happened, what's going on, why did you miss your court, just kind of get, again, feedback, collecting information to see if there's anything that Al Otro Lado can do, or if they can refer them out. And what I found out was very upsetting, because some of these people who missed their court dates missed it because they were not allowed to enter into the United States. So let me do a quick little recap. The Migrant Protection Protocol, the MPP program that our administration has put in place, and this list, and these asylum seekers having to wait in Mexico for their asylum hearing. What we're not hearing in the news, or what nobody is talking about, is that some of these asylum seekers, the reason they're missing their court dates, or maybe nobody's thinking about this, is that they have to go through the border. They're not in the United States, so it's not like they can just hop on an Uber and get to court. They have to come to the border hours before their hearing, sometimes 6 hours. So imagine if you have a hearing at 9, 10 a.m., 6 hours before that, or at 8 a.m., you have to wait at the border just to be let in. Some of these people don't make it on time. Some of these people, are a little bit late, and they're rejected. They cannot go in because if they're not there on a specific time, they cannot go in, even though it's hours before their hearing, and they could probably still make it if they were allowed to cross the border and be transported, how it's supposed to be. But they're not, because they're an hour late because of traffic, or because they live 2 hours away and it was difficult to get here, or because of something that happened, something completely out of their control, because they're being forced to wait in Mexico and then go to their hearings, and they're being punished because they don't make it on time, or they're not, punctual. It's so unfair, and it's not efficient. Now these people that have missed their hearings and have received a order absentia, meaning they just didn't show up to their hearing, so the judge, could remove them. Now they're gonna fight it because it's not their fault. A lot of them were actually at the border where they were supposed to be, just maybe an hour late, but they were an hour late. I'm not saying that it was an hour after the hearing. It was just an hour before the 6 hours prior that they had to be there. So to think that they were right there, they were trying to follow the rules, and then they were not allowed to go in. I mean, whose fault is that? I would take responsibility for that, because we're the ones who are making them come through the border and wait out here. If they were in the United States, I bet you that they would not miss that court date. And a lot of them that I talked to today missed the third court date, meaning they've gone to 2 prior court dates. They were on time, no issues, and for something completely out of their control, they missed it, and now they have a order of absentia. that is just so unfair, and I don't understand why nobody's even like talking about this. Like, huh, that's a problem. That is a huge problem that causes more backlogs, that causes more issues for our judicial system. Like this, that just makes sense to me. Like we need to like fix this problem and get rid of this program because it's causing more issues than it's supposed to be fixing, and nobody's really talking about that. So I talked to a few people and I try to get their stories and see if there's any possibilities of other organizations trying to help them now that they have a removal of absentia or other options. The other thing that I was able to do today was I was able to work on asylum applications. So I actually worked on two 589s, but because they entered after the new law in July 2015, where anybody who doesn't seek the third country issue, if they don't seek asylum from another country before they enter the United States, they're completely barred and they can only apply for withholding. So I had a case like that. I worked on their application, and they had a very strong case. They had evidence. They met everything under the law, but they're waiting. They're doing all their hearing pro se because they don't have an attorney. They just have an organization like Allow to help them fill out these English documents, and they have a solid chance, but they don't have an attorney, and that is very hard for them to win their case because they can only talk about what happened to them and express their fear and show their evidence, but they don't know anything about the law. They have no idea, and it's just not right and inefficient. These people actually, and there's probably a lot of people like them. There's people that meet the asylum laws. There's probably people that have credible fears, actually suffered past persecution, will likely die if they return to that country, but they're advocating on their own. It's not like they would know. So it's just, it's not great. I didn't like that because I felt like this would be a great case, but on their own, I don't know if they can defend it. They probably can't. So the organization is going to try to reach out to a pro bono attorney that might want to do it because it's just that strong, and they believe in this family's case, and I believe in it too. I mean, if I was in this area practicing, I would probably take the case myself, but I can't. I'm so far away. So I did my best to prepare a very strong application for them, and I really hope that Alo can find a good attorney for them because they definitely qualify. So yeah, that was basically it. Everybody left today between this morning and this afternoon, so a lot of volunteers, said farewell and then all of that. So I'm gonna take the next few days to go and reflect on everything I've learned, and then I'll do a final wrap up of my whole experience and what I wish to share with everybody. So I will see you in a few days. Hopefully I'll be back in the United States, So yeah, that's basically it. Talk to you later.